Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, I'm going to show you front strut replacement on this 2005 Chevy Cobalt. I'll obviously show you the driver's side. You do want to replace your struts in pairs. So replace the driver's side and the passenger side at the same time. This is the same process for pretty much any 05 to 10 Cobalt as well as the Pontiac G5. This vehicle does not have ABS brakes, so there would be, if you have ABS, there's probably just a bracket that's bolted to the strut that you would need to remove. Tools you'll need are Jack and Jack stands, 13 to 19 millimeter sockets with ratchet and extension, an 18 millimeter wrench, a hammer. You'll need a breaker bar or a pipe for some extra leverage on a couple of the nuts and bolts, and a torque wrench for reassembly. Underneath the hood of your car, we're going to start on the driver's side. We'll show you the driver's side. Obviously, when you replace struts, you want to replace them in pairs, so the passenger side is basically the same procedure. But there are 3 nuts that hold the strut at the top. They're 13 millimeter nuts. You want to remove one of them completely, and then the other 2 you can remove, but then just kind of thread them back on so that it holds the strut in place. Use a 19 millimeter socket or lug wrench and remove the lug caps and the wheel cover.
Okay,
if you don't have access to air tools, you'll want to start with the vehicle on the ground. Loosen the lug nuts first, then raise, support the vehicle, remove the lug nuts, and land on top.
Okay, now use an 18 millimeter wrench, and you can grab on the back side there, and then an 18 millimeter socket and ratchet. Okay, remove that nut.
A little bit of penetrating oil just to help get that nut off easier. Now I'm using my 18 millimeter socket with the ratchet and a piece of pipe. You can use pipe, or you can if you have a breaker bar, you just need some extra leverage. Get that bolt to move some, okay, and then I actually grab onto the wrench. Hold the wrench and just start it loosened, and then you can do it by hand the rest of the way. And once you remove that nut, then you can just knock out or remove the top of that stabilizer link.
Okay, now you'll need to remove these 2 nuts. Also, if you have ABS brakes, there's probably a bracket bolted in up here. These 2 nuts are 18 millimeters. Just going to shoot them with a little bit of penetrating oil first. Okay, 18 millimeter socket. Use a pipe for some extra leverage.
Okay, fast forward here as I remove those nuts the rest of the way. Then what you want to do is you can thread the nut back onto the bolt, probably about 4 or 5 turns. That just protects the end of the bolt. Use a hammer and drive the bolts out. Then obviously take the nut the rest of the way off and drive it out the rest of the way. On this vehicle, the top one is a little stubborn, takes a little more force with the hammer. And then I actually use the bolt, the bottom bolt that drove out. I use it to help drive the top bolt out the rest of the way. Okay, once you have those bolts out and the bottom loose, just reach up on the top and remove the 2 nuts that you left on the top, and then you'll be able to pull the strut down and out. Okay, take the new strut from 1AAuto, and I actually kind of do this the hard way here. What you want to do is put it up in, and you can either put one of your large bolts through the strut and the steering knuckle, and then start the 3 nuts up top. I hold it up and start the 3 nuts up at the top first. But you start those, then you get both of the bolts through the bottom and the steering knuckle, and then you can tighten those up. You just want to tighten those up kind of preliminarily, and then you'll torque them.
Okay, torque these to 100 foot-pounds. Your upper stabilizer link.
Fast forward to this part, you just take that stabilizer link, put it back into the new strut, and put the nut on, tighten the nut up. You want to get it nice and tight. If you were to torque it, I guess probably about 45 to 50 foot-pounds. Also, if you have ABS brakes, you would want to reconnect any clips or anything that holds the wiring to the strut. Okay, reinstall the tire. You want to put the lug nuts on by hand at first, and then just kind of preliminarily tighten them. You'll torque them when the vehicle's back down on the ground.
You want to tighten and torque these to 20 foot-pounds.
I'll speed up here as I do that. On the inside one, you can't really get a torque wrench on it, so I just used a small combination wrench and got it nice and tight. 20 foot-pounds is not that tight. You don't want to over-tighten them because you could strip them, and these are not bolts that you want to strip. Okay, now torque your lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds each, and then replace either your wheel cover or the wheel caps and the retainers. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.